Hey guys, so this is a continuation on my video about the WACC, which is of course weighted average cost of equity. Okay. And what I want to talk about today, right, is about how to find the debt, the cost of debt, and the cost of preferred. So this is actually pretty straightforward, right? How do you find the cost of debt? Basically, you need to find the cost of bonds. And there are three ways to do it. So the first way is the first mundane way. You can just ask somebody. Especially, if you talk about a case where the bonds are not recorded publicly, okay? So in this case, it's somewhat tough, to find the cost of debt. You can ask somebody, let's say an investment banker, which can tell you the truth, okay? So for example, if the investment banker comes to you and says, oh my God, the cost of debt for this company XYZ is, let's say 5%, then you know that it's 5%. Second way to do it, right, is through comps. So this is something which is pretty standard. It's also called matrix pricing. And the idea is this. Say you have a company, okay? You know that this company, let's say, is going to be some company like Goldman Sachs, right? Now you don't know, and this is like a privately registered bond, okay, that you found that Goldman Sachs issued to some client, and you want to find, right, what is going to be its cost of equity. So it's actually very simple. All you need to do is to search in public bonds similar to this. So for example, right, if this bond that is kind of privately issued has, let's say, 5% coupon and 30-year maturity, you can actually see, right, you can actually go to the public markets and you can look on Goldman Sachs bonds and you can locate a bond which is actually close to this bond. Say maybe it's not, 30-year to maturity, maybe it's 25-year to maturity, right, and then 5% coupon. Say the yield of this bond, right, which is given you to Bloomberg is 2%. So then it's actually very, it's actually very tempting and natural to assume, and this is going to be a correct assumption, that this bond, right, also has 2% of yield. Now, if you, right, are not lazy, you can actually make this type of computation yourself, right? Because recall, if you have basically a maturity and a coupon, right, you can actually use the principal and the yield. You can actually use the principal annuity formula, right, which is basically C divided by I, 1 minus Y plus 1 plus I times your maturity. Say, maturity is in years, right, and your coupon is in years, plus, and then you take the less payment, which is basically 1 plus Y to the power of n. This is going to be your principal. So say a bond is basically traded at par, let's say 100, right? And its coupon, let's say, is 5%, okay? Then you know immediately that the yield will be 5%. Now, if the bond is actually traded, let's say 112, you can find the yield from this formula. So this is Y and this is Y. Sorry about that, okay? So the yield is a Y and C is a coupon, okay? So it's actually pretty straightforward, all right? Like this, you go to Excel, you use some NPV function, you can find your yield, and you're done. Now, the one thing that you want to remember, right, that if you have a yield, what you want to do then, right, is to actually take the tax into account. Remember, right, that interest rate is tax deductible. So if, let's say, you have 10% that you got with this formula, you want to multiply by 1 minus, let's say, 30%, which is your tax rate, and you are going to get that you are actually, 7% real weighted average cost of debt, right? Because you need to remember that interest rate is tax deductible. So whatever, you know, whatever the company has, let's say it pays 10% coupon, you know, the deduction comes back to it, right? So it's not going to be 10, it's going to be 7. So it actually can make a difference. Another thing that we're going to remind you, right, is that we have a floating cost, right? So how much does it cost to bring bonds to the market, right? But the floating costs for bonds are actually pretty low. So we're not going to, you know, we're not going to take them into account when we are actually calculating this. All right? So this was about bonds, and the next video is going to be the debt of preferred, the weighted average cost of equity of preferred. Okay, thank you and bye.